More false teaching from Miles Monroe. Today we're going to deal with the heresy of Creflo Dollar's Little Gods Doctrine. Okay. If you agree with T.D. Jakes and believe in his God, you are a modalist. I like fried chicken. 1 + 1 is 2. Greetings, I'm JC Pilcher and this is JCPC Apologetics.
What's wrong with you people?
Well, hello and welcome to another Monday and another episode of Bad Arguments. Today we're dealing with the argument of... As you would expect, this is one that is long overdue. If you have spent any sort of time in the public space, especially on Twitter, Facebook, or any sort of social media, you have heard this argument made time and time and time and time again for infinity. Now, this is a stand-in argument, and by that I mean it is representative of a big long list of things. You know, you're a homophobe, you're a misogynist, you're a racist, and there is a long list of phobes and ists that get thrown at you if you hold any particular conservative theological or political position. Now, I am very honored to say, or maybe dishonored, I'm not sure, that when I am recording this video, at this point in time, I have not been called racist yet. But that's not to say that I won't be called it in the future when I continue my ministry here with JCPC Apologetics. What can I say about this argument? It's just bad and immoral. For anybody who's studied bad arguments for any length of time, you can already tell that this is just another branch on that same bad argument of ad hominem. If you remember, it's the very first one we dealt with, and I dealt with it first, and I have dealt with it multiple times since, because if you took ad hominem arguments off of the internet, Twitter would die. There would be nothing left if you took away the bad argument of ad hominem. Today, the most popular form of ad hominem is you are a racist. And it's because we have a culture that so abhors racism that if you call somebody a racist just to keep from looking like they might be a racist, they will retract anything they say or just shut up. So it is maybe the worst label you can throw at somebody in this culture today. And so, yes, that is why the argument is so often used, but I'm not going to get into the weeds about that so much. What I want to deal with today, and this is going to be a short and sweet video, it's not going to be nearly as long as some of the other ones that I've done, just saying this. If a person makes an argument, and your inclination, because today we're not dealing with those guys who weaponize the that's racist thing just because they have no character. I'll use an example of a guy in the SBC. And yes, I don't mind calling him out because I've seen him do this enough times now to where I'm just kind of sick of it. And if he doesn't like me calling him out, he can change his ways. There's a guy by the name of Dwight McKissick, a very famous pastor in the SBC. Whenever I've seen him time and time again, he gets in a debate or an argument with the person and he does the right thing. He tries to defend his position. I respect that. But the moment he starts losing the argument, he always calls the guy he's arguing with a racist, or he says the only reason you hold that is because of some racist this, that, and the other from history, and secretly you're a racist, or you're subconsciously a racist. That's not an argument. That is just immoral, poor character. What it's basically saying is, I will defend my position to the point where I can no longer defend my position, and instead of having the humility to admit that, one, I am wrong, or two, if I am right, I just have not studied well enough, I don't know well enough to be able to defend my position. rather than being humble and admitting one of those two things, you instead say, you're an immoral person, nobody should listen to you, you shouldn't have the right to speak, you're a racist. That is what you're doing. It is a gross immorality to engage in that sort of thing. If you can't defend your position without name calling, you've lost the argument. I'm sorry. Again, I've said this every time we dealt with a ad hominem argument, but I'll say it again. If you can't prove your case without making that statement, you're probably wrong. Look, for example, if the guy is legitimately racist, there could be people out there. For example, me personally, if I go and I attack Miles Monroe and I attack Creflo Dollar and TD Jakes, for those who don't know, these three guys are all black. You could call me racist. Well, Jordan just says that about these guys because he's racist. He doesn't like black people. You could make that argument. Now, if I did hate black people, which would be a terrible sin for sure, if I did, does that change the fact that I said that TD Jakes is a modalist? No, he's still a modalist. And a guy who's not racist could say the same thing. If, Creflo Dollar still believes that he's a god, and technically TD Jakes and Miles Monroe believe that they are gods too, does that change the fact that somebody else who's not racist could come along and say the same thing? And the same thing about Monroe's false gospel. The fact that, say, this guy makes this argument and he's a racist doesn't change the fact that his argument is true. If a person has to be perfectly pure and perfectly holy in order for any of his arguments to stand, then the reality is nobody can make any argument, including the guy who's screaming racist. Guys, if you come to an argument and your first inclination is to say you're racist or you're a this-ist or that-ist or a something phobe or that phobe, stop. You're not making an actual argument. You're not defending a position. You're just engaging in poor character assassination. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. Now, inevitably, as I said at the beginning of this video, I have never been called a racist before, and that actually does shock me because, that's what people always resort to when they can't defend their positions as some sort of name. But inevitably, there will be somebody in the comments section who sees this video who will say that I'm racist for the positions I've had. And call me names. You know why? Because my favorite pastor, as far as stylistically, I don't think he's the closest to the truth in Scripture, but he's, 99% agrees with what I believe, is Vodi Bakum. He happens to be a black pastor. I've lived for 3 years with African people. I've seen more Africans than white people. I've got a sister, actually 2 sisters and a brother who are African. I can give you a long list of things. The only podcast I listen to is called Just Thinking with Virgil Walker and Daryl Harrison. And you know what the racist people out there who use the "that's racist" term will say? Oh, you're just engaging with all this, these black people and this black media, trying to hide the fact that you're truly deep down racist. You see, when you have an argument that can be blanket, applied to anybody in any situation just simply because they disagree with you, the issue is the person you're dealing with is not racist. The problem is you're ignorant. Sorry, I come from Tennessee and we just got to use the local terminology. You're just ignorant. You can't defend your own positions. You don't know what you believe, or at least you don't have good reasons for what you believe. And rather than being able to articulate that, you resort to name calling because you have poor character. There are people out there who are racists. There are people who engage in horrible, hateful things, though I don't like the word racist. You can listen to the Just Thinking podcast for my position on that. They've got some really good teaching on why racism isn't really a thing. Ethnic hatred is the term that they use, and it's a much better term. Yes, it's out there. It's a terrible thing. We hate it. When we actually see that, people like me come and we stand against those people. But my first inclination when we deal with guys who are legitimately racist or think their ethnic group is superior. We deal with them from a logical and argumentative base. And we might mention it in there at some point in time, probably more so in private. Dude, you are a ethnic supremacist. You are a racist. You are a what? But when we're engaging with them online, we're not just going to say, you're racist, that's done. Argument won. That's not an argument. That's not a position, a legitimate position to hold. It is, again, poor character. Make an actual case. And for all you guys who say Jesus called names, the Pharisees and all those names. Yes, Jesus called them a lot of names and made cases for why they were those names. Just saying the name doesn't do anything than show your own ignorance. I can throw every name in the book at you, whoever you happen to be. I can throw every name in the book at anybody. It doesn't matter what you call a person. Can you make the case for what you're actually presenting? Guys, stop name calling. We're tired of hearing people throw names at people. Stand for the truth. Believe what you believe. Certainly, we don't want wishy-washy people out there who don't know what they believe. But when you believe something, be able to substantiate it with evidence, not with name calling. I hope this was helpful to you guys. Now, if you've come to this video because you saw the clickbait name, racism, whenever we see that today, people get excited and they want to check it out. If you saw that and you clicked on this video and you're not here because you're a Christian, but you just wanted to get some clickbait, or maybe you are a Christian and you fell for the clickbait, I recommend you click on this video that I'm going to leave linked after it's over, called What is the Gospel? In there, you will hear me describe to you what we as Christians believe when we talk about the gospel. And really, when you understand the gospel, your tendency to call people names, call people racists or this, that, and the other, it kind of flies out the window. Because once you've understood and believed the gospel, you realize you have no superiority to any other person in the universe. I hope this is beneficial to you guys. God bless. We'll see you next time. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a comment below and feel free to like and share it so others can see it as well. Also, subscribe so that you can keep up to date on future videos. And as always, please check below to see resources that I've used that might help you further your studies. God bless and have a great day.